Hey there, it's Miguel again, another nighttime video blog. So, I'm doing these video blogs for a lot of reasons. I hope to improve my ability to speak because I think that what I'm noticing is that a big reason that sometimes I'm not as fluent a speaker as I'd like to be is because I just don't get a lot of practice speaking. A big part of that reason, I think, has to do with the fact that we are in a pandemic and everybody is social distancing, and what that means for me is I do not get a lot of face-to-face interaction, except with my girlfriend, which is fine, but I need more. I need more speaking time. And so, that's really the primary reason I'm doing this. And I also want to be able to put together, I want to be able to string together words in a sentence and be semi-coherent when I speak. And in order for me to do that and to put enough energy into that, I have to have this subconscious belief that other people are listening. So that's why these videos are public, when it might be better that they ought to be private. But I tell you, I think I need the extra reinforcement and motivation to make sense to the outside world. So there's a little bit of pressure on me to do that. There's sort of like a recognition, sort of an attention, an intention to make sense and not just speak in a way that is garbled and doesn't make any sense and uses too many hymns and haws. And anyway, that's the whole purpose of it. So, of course, I also get challenged because I'm walking and I'm doing some exercise. Granted, it's very low intensity exercise, but it makes me breathe a little bit. So I'm getting practice breathing while I'm speaking, and speaking in a coherent way. Let me tell you, there's one thing that I really admire in a lot of people who I see, particularly public figures. They have an amazing ability to speak, and I love that. I want to develop that. But the thing is, I don't have a lot of forums to develop that ability. Now, I know I could join Toastmasters, or I could give speeches online. Maybe I could come up with seminars, or come up with a group that meets on YouTube or on Meetup or on Google, on Facebook, or some other kind of group, maybe on Zoom perhaps. But again, that also takes a commitment of time. And one of the benefits of just having a video blog like this is that I don't need to rustle together a whole cadre of people to listen to me speak. And so, I also don't have to use that brain power to pull together subject matter and put speeches together and read books, which I don't mind doing. I read all the time. But I don't know. I guess it's just easy for me, and it's basically the first step. There's also another thing that relates to what I talked about yesterday, and that was the ability to stop time through records of the past and records of my own personal experience. And so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll be able to, sometime in the future, look back at these videos and say, aha, that was me. This is what I was thinking about. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm thinking about. What's kind of funny is I find that even though I can, have deep thoughts, I have the ability to have very deep thoughts, typically I don't have them. And a lot of the time I'm thinking about very trivial things. It's amazing to think just how obsessed I become about physical fitness. It really is quite an interesting thing, this focus on physical fitness. But I'll be honest, today I was thinking about six-pack abs. Hey, look, I know that that's probably a surface level or not a very deep consideration. But it's a goal, it's a personal goal of mine. And I know I talk about it all the time because it's probably, I'm thinking, an appropriate subject to talk about on YouTube. But It is something that consumes me. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't really consume me. It is something I consider every once in a while. I ask myself, how can I get six-pack abs? So here's my problem. I am, well, actually, I don't know what I think I have two problems. Number one, I think I need to train my abs better. Now, here's the thing. I actually don't train my abs very much, even though I go to the gym regularly. I train them sporadically, maybe once or twice a week. It's a week effort, I admit. You know, in the past, I've been thinking of this whole idea that abs are made in the kitchen, which of course is absolutely true. But of course, if you do any kind of research on the subject, you'll recognize that it's only partly true. That there is an element of, you know, for a person who wants well-defined abs, there's an element of having to train them too, so that there's some hypertrophy there to look at, right? So anyway, I'm sort of caught in that whole thing. You know, I hope you don't get the misimpression that that's all I think about, that I'm shallow in that respect. Not that that's being bad or poor, because let me tell you something about life. Life is filled with light subject matter that people think about and consider. I mean, just look at all the reality television shows. Not that that's a bad thing. I think this is a great way to let off steam. You know, it's a great form of entertainment. And there's also, you know, pursuit of information about, say, movie stars and Hollywood stars and entertainment stars. You know what? That's a wonderful pastime. There's, of course, also books about fantasy. I was being asked today about Harry Potter. I actually enjoy the Harry Potter series of novels, and movies, and audiobooks, and all that stuff in that world. And I've played, you know, the Harry Potter themed video games on my smartphone, and I think it's called Wizards Unite. And so I was asked recently, you know, what is it that I see in Harry Potter that I enjoy so much? And I figured I'd share my answer with you. It turned out I had a pretty, in my view, pretty deep answer. Although part of it was pretty not deep. I think the most interesting part had to do with, number one, appreciation for mystery. You know, there's something about Harry Potter. There's an appreciation for darkness. You know, it's about, you know, witches and warlocks and wizards, and you know, it's a story that sort of celebrates the mysterious, and you know, I like that whole magical world, that fantasy world. You know, it's kind of fun to think about it and try to make sense of it all. And I don't know. I like Harry Potter. It's kind of a nice. There's a fun creativity about it. And you know, anytime Halloween comes around, I do think about, you know, the mysterious nighttime and the Forbidden Forest, and you know, dragons and things like that. So I enjoy it for that reason, because, you know, it gets me to appreciate something I might not have appreciated before, and that is like full moons and werewolves and things like that, and mysterious darkness. Anyway, let's see, what else? I like the Harry Potter movies also because I like Harry Potter movies because they they are I think that they are like a modern day fable that sort of tells a moral story, you know, very much like the Bible. And I think it's, you know, very popular among young people, and I think it's a appreciate its themes, and um, and I think it's just a influential book, an influential story. And I want it's the fact is I don't have a lot of my interests do not intersect with a lot of popular culture. And I appreciate at least having one subject that I can talk about that relates to popular culture. What I can talk about, and basically I can relate to younger people. Uh, anyway, it's something that's accessible to youth and teenagers and adults and seniors alike. And I appreciate that. Let's see what else. Well, I also appreciate the themes. I guess one of the themes that is most compelling to me about Harry Potter is the fact that it's about friendship. Hermione Granger and Harry Potter and the redheaded kid. I forget his name right offhand, but it's about their friendship enduring and being more important than anything. And there's also another compelling theme that has to do with death. It really is a story about death, and the main antagonist is a person who's trying to defeat death, Voldemort, and the lengths that he goes to in order to prevent dying, because I think that theme in itself is very very analogous to the themes in the Bible, which is about sort of not dying. you know, that's the whole dream of going to heaven, is that you don't have to die. And it also reminds me of, say, Egyptian folklore and mummies and all the efforts that they took to pursue a life that doesn't end. And anyway, so I think it's compelling for that reason, and I appreciate that. I think the story itself and the themes are universal, and I appreciate its wide appeal and its popularity, and it's something that I can relate to. Now, here's the thing too. There's another thing about these movies. While I appreciate the movies and enjoy them, they sometimes are a little difficult to watch because they've got a lot of drama. I'm not a person who's really loves to watch drama, and I'm also not a person who loves to watch a lot of violence in movies. So it's another reason that it's kind of hard to watch the movies. But I think if I get a kick out of sort of seeing the perspective of the director and the people who storyboard the story. When I read the book, or at least listened to the audiobook, I had a vision in my own head about what was going on. And I love to see that story come alive on the screen. It's really, if you think about it, I'm really excited about the difference between, say, my imagined view of the picture and the picture as it came to life on the screen. And it's really interesting to compare and contrast the differences there. Now, you might ask, do I like the video? Do I like the movies more than the book, or the book more than the movies? And I could tell you, they're so different. I don't think that I can make a comparison saying that one is better than the other. Certainly like both. And anyway, I think I'm just going to wrap things up here. I just want to appreciate you for listening to me rant and rave about, and I didn't necessarily rant and rave, but talking a little bit at length about my appreciation for Harry Potter. Oh, and there's also one thing. I also like to go to the Harry Potter world that's at Hollywood, in Hollywood, California, at Universal Studios. So that makes my enjoyment all the more keen that there's an amusement park to go to and people to interact with who are just as enthusiastic about the story. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.